I'm a student, I'm a writer, I'm an aspiring filmmaker, and to those closest to me, I'm known as one of the most unlucky people in the world. One of these unlucky experiences I had happened one night at a county fair that I went to with my friends. We were so excited, we even got armbands so that we could ride unlimited rides all night. We decided on this one ride that you strap yourself into and it spins you around. My friends and I sat down, got ourselves strapped in. A little girl, about 6 or 7, comes down and sits right next to me. I didn't think anything of it. That was until about halfway through the ride when this girl started blowing chunks everywhere. We're talking vomit flying in all directions. Now, you think you've heard of the walk of shame, but let me tell you, walking home in yesterday's clothes is nothing compared to having to walk across these giant fairgrounds covered in someone else's puke. I needed a solution to this problem, so my friend went to a nearby food truck and got a garbage bag. You know you've hit rock bottom when you're happy to be wearing a garbage bag. So another unlucky experience I had was the time I got my tonsils removed. I got the procedure done about a month ago, and knowing my track record with luck, I was a little concerned about how this was gonna go. Yet surprisingly, it all went well. I got to go home, and I was told in a couple weeks I'd be completely back to normal. Well, about 3 days later, I was relaxing at home, eating some, Gerber baby food since that was the only food I could eat at the time, when I felt a small tickle on the back of my throat. When I coughed, it caused the cauterized wound in my throat to reopen, and when the wound reopened, it caused an artery in my throat to rupture, but we didn't know an artery had ruptured at the time. So it came as a bit of a shock when all of a sudden a waterfall of blood comes pouring out of my mouth. When you have an open wound, you want the blood to clot, that's a good thing. But the problem was, my blood was starting to clot inside of my throat, making it almost impossible for me to breathe. So my parents decided to rush me to the hospital. The doctor told me that there was a 1% chance of this happening, and of course, to me, one of the most unlucky people in the world, I fit into that 1% chance. Now, not all of my unlucky experiences are just as gruesome, but they're still pretty rough. Coming out is hard. It's hard for anybody, but when you're as unlucky as me, it's even harder. I decided it was time to come out to my brother. I knew it was going to be really, really rough to do, but it needed to be done. I called him up because he lives too far away to do it in person, and when he answered, I told him that I had something serious to tell him. I took a deep breath, worked up all the courage I had, and came out to my brother. I poured all of my emotions into it, laid out my heart on the table. And once I was done, I realized that it was definitely the right thing to do, and I felt this weight lift off of my shoulders. Well, right after I had done it, my phone started to buzz against my face, and I looked and I saw that I was getting a call from my brother. And when I answered, I found out that right after I told my brother that I had something serious to tell him, the call had dropped, and he didn't hear any of my coming out, so I had to do it all over again. I was having a really rough night. I had just gotten broken up with, and I was extremely sad. My friend invited me over to make me feel better. After spending some time there, I said goodbye to my friend, thanked her for consoling me, and headed home. On my way back, I was hit by a car. I landed back down on the ground in complete shock. I didn't know what to do, and I started to walk away when I realized that I should go to the driver and probably take his information. But as I started talking to the driver, I realized, this is a guy just like me, and I really don't want to make someone else's night unlucky. So, to spare him the curse, I said goodnight and I walked away, this time with a slight limp. So, after hearing all of these unlucky experiences that I've been through, you may be wondering, how do I manage? How do I get out of bed every morning without fearing what the day has in store for me? And I'll tell you, I do fear what's ahead. With my luck, anything can happen. But I keep pushing forward, hoping that one day the curse will be lifted.